Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
New Day's Hell in a Cell match revealed! Becky Lynch is a master of disguise, and Samoa Joe becomes WWE's Dr. Seuss. I am Luke Owen. Vote in the poll above my head to let me know what you thought of SmackDown Live, where you can choose from Smackdam, Smacktastic, Smack Bang in the Middle, Ellsworthy, and a smack in the face. This is the 11th of September 2018 edition of SmackDown Live in about 4 minutes. After a nice 11-bell salute to the victims of 9/11, thankfully we didn't get Stephanie McMahon comparing the tragedy to the Vince McMahon steroid trial this time. Jeff Hardy opened the show to cut a promo on Randy Orton ahead of their Hell in a Cell match this Sunday. He said that while Randy is a demon, Jeff is a daredevil. This led to a SummerSlam rematch between Hardy and United States champion Shinsuke Nakamura. Although it went through 2 commercial breaks, there wasn't much of note to the match, and Orton crotched Hardy on the ropes for a DQ finish. Randy then hit Hardy with a chair, only for Jeff to fight back and hit the Twist of Fate and Swanton Bomb. Nakamura just clicked out of existence. This was a good go-home angle for their match this weekend, but it does seem odd that WWE clearly had no plans for Nakamura as US champion, seeing as though he doesn't have a match this Sunday or a feud since he won the belt. Why wasn't this a 3-way feud over the title? We then got a promo by AJ Styles recorded earlier in the day in an empty arena. He said that Samoa Joe also has a family at home, but because AJ has integrity, he would never mess with them. While I have liked certain elements of this feud, like the intensity we saw last week and at SummerSlam, this didn't feel like a go-home promo for a WWE Championship match. Maybe if this had been done in front of a live crowd, it would have been different, as the audience didn't pop for anything AJ said on screen. Because WWE have already announced rematches for Super Showdown and SmackDown 1000 between AJ and Joe, it feels like they're trying to artificially stretch out this feud using backstage promos rather than in-ring interactions, and that has hurt the Hell in a Cell hype. Charlotte Flair then defeated Sonya Deville in an average match, but while taking a selfie with a fan, she was attacked by Becky Lynch in a disguise. This was totally awesome and really surprising, and the crowd popped huge for Becky's reveal. This feud is far and away the best thing on SmackDown Live at the moment. What wasn't quite so awesome was Samoa Joe submitting an entry to Wrestle Ramble's Poetry Corner, where he channeled his inner Shane McMahon reading a fairy tale about the Big Show in the lead up to their Backlash 2001 match by reading a children's story called Night Night AJ. I have mixed feelings on this. On one hand, it was quite creepy and effective, but on the other hand, it didn't make the WWE Championship match feel like a big deal. When Shane read out his story about the Big Show, he wasn't supposed to be taken seriously, and he only did it to make fun of the Giants. This is supposed to be for the brand's top title. If you'd have done the pull-apart brawl here and the poem in AJ's promo last week, it would have been different. This was a good segment, just not a good go-home segment. What was a good go-home segment, however, was Rusev Day defeating The Bar to become the #1 contenders to the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships. The key to this match and why this story has been so great was in the finish, with Aiden English pulling a Johnny Gargano and sacrificing himself to save Rusev, which allowed the Bulgarian Brute to get the win over Sheamus. Rusev Day will now face New Day at Hell in a Cell Day. Carmella came out with R-Truth again this week, so she's officially a gendered babyface now, where he took on Andrade, Cien, Almas in a short match. Mella tried to stop Vega from causing a distraction, but this allowed Almas to roll up Truth and grab a handful of tights to get the win. I smell a mixed tag team match on the Hell in a Cell pre-show, player. But perhaps the saddest part of SmackDown Live this week was a segment backstage with Naomi and Asuka. After being the undefeated NXT Women's Champion, the first ever Women's Royal Rumble winner, and WrestleMania attraction, Asuka is now doing lame comedy skits with Naomi about how neither of them can understand each other's accents. This was incredibly lame. Asuka was the biggest open goal SmackDown had, especially because she's on a different roster to Ronda Rousey. But post-WrestleMania has been a bad time for the Empress, and remarkably, this segment might have been her lowest point. And in the main event, Maryse took on Siri, show me a match I have no desire in seeing. This ended up being more of an angle to promote Hell in a Cell, and it did that rather well. Maryse kept bailing out of the ring, but eventually Brie threw her back in. She locked in the yes lock, but Miz pulled her out for the DQ. Miz and Maryse then attacked Bryan and Brie, who made a comeback and sent the heels packing. This was a fun angle to close the show. Monday's Raw was not a good go-home show for Hell in a Cell, and I don't think SmackDown was either. There was nothing horrible about the show, apart from that Asuka segment, but there was nothing great either, apart from Becky Lynch. It certainly wasn't as good as last week's show, but it was still better than Raw. This week's episode of SmackDown Live was smack bang in the middle. Watch El Fakador Laurie Blake's hilarious makeup tutorial with Impact Wrestling Su Yung by clicking the video on screen right now. I've been Luke Owen, and that was wrestling.